Thank you for coming today, for being here, and also I'm very grateful to be here, and thanks to Seisan Roshi for the invitation. And makes me very happy, very content to be in this space again after over a year, maybe over a year with this pandemic. And like as Seisan said, I was living here almost for, I guess, 2 years. And now coming as a guest speaker and sharing the Dharma with you and Songande Reunited and Sweetwater, it has been very important to me and my heart. It has been a Sangha that really support me and to open the space for us, for in that time for vows and now open gate, to share this endo and to practice together. I'm very grateful for that. And so it feels rare to me right now because always I am mic when I give a talk, and then I am feeling like something is missing. Anyway, so today I'd like to share with you some thoughts, and I would like to open with a chant, a poem in our tradition, and the Soto Zen Buddhist tradition that we chant very often when we do daily practice, daily services, and temples and Zen centers. And it's a poem from the Zen master, Chinese Zen master Shito, or Sekito Kisen in Japanese, the poem of the Sandokai, or the agreement of difference and unity. I'm just gonna put it as an introduction of my talk, because it's a beautiful writing, beautiful poem. And then I'm just gonna read the first part, the first 2 paragraphs of the poem. Sometimes it's translated as the identity of the relative and the absolute, or the oneness of one and many. So start with the mind of the great sage of India is intimately transmitted from west to east. While human faculties are shared of all, the way has not other or southern ancestors. The spiritual source shines clear in the light. The branches and streams flow on in the dark. Grasping and things is surely delusion. According with sameness is still no enlightenment. So why I choose this poem or this part of the writing from this Zen master from China, long time ago, in the 600s, 700s, from China, when it was really the beginning of the Zen movement in China, the Chan. Because this poem and like many teachings of the Buddha or sutras, they are really timeless. So what I mean by that, we can apply in our times. And this poem, I think for me, is invitation how we should practice together, how we should practice as a society. We think that, oh, this is only for monks, for monastic people, and get enlightened, and this spiritual path that is isolated from the society. And no, it applies to the whole world. And right now, as you know, is more into our surface or our consciousness into our mind the situation that we are dealing in life and in our society. One of them is racism, and it has been here for a long time, for a long time. But we try to eradicate or to transform, to get over, and we are still having difficulties. We're still dealing with that, and things are more obvious. More obvious and obvious is on our face that we cannot escape anymore, and we have to do something about it. If you were in the service and the gate of sweet nectar, there is a dedication in the end when, you know, Cho was a chant leader. He was saying about, you know, the system. We were praying or dedicated or practice to really abolish or to really dismantle the oppression system of racists in our society. And then I just reading a little bit about the dedication. May we always have the courage to bear witness, to see ourselves as others and others as ourselves. May penetrating light dispel the darkness of ignorance. Let all karma be resolved and be mind flower bloom in the eternal spring. May we all ascend to great peace and love, and may we realize the enlightened way together. May we realize the enlightened together. So I get across writing in the Tricycle magazine a while ago. The title is The Buddhist and Racial Justice, a History by Anne Glade. And then you can Google it, you can look at it. And they was, by reading that, I get inspiration to give this talk. And more to understand for those, and I have been there, sometimes people think that those kind of issues are political issues. They doesn't have any relationship with or practice or with Buddhism. And then it has, because any kind of suffering that we experience, individual or as a society, is just a point to apply Buddhism, because Buddhism, the teachings of the Buddha, is to relieve the suffering for ourselves and the others, the whole world, to transform that, or to be free from suffering. So in this case, racism or poverty or homelessness, those issues that we face as a society, they are just manifestation of suffering or incarceration. All this profit system of jail system that we have in this country and other countries is just perpetuating our suffering. In addition, increase more our mental suffering. So with the poem, you know, we say we know about these Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter. You know, when the movement started, some of us we start saying, "Oh, all lives matter." Yeah, all lives matter. But when we say Black Lives Matter, we don't say that not only the blacks or people of color, no, everybody. But we need to look at it and not to bypass those kind of suffering. And then I've been hearing recently. I was in a with a Dharma friend from Sangha in Florida. We have a chat, and in our chatting, it was she was expressing the how do you deal with people in the Sangha that sometimes we bring the issue of racism or some kind of engaged Buddhism, and then some practitioners, they really get upset and they say, oh, this is not Buddhism, and they just stop coming or they leave. And I say, yeah, it's a very interesting topic that we need to look at it as a Sangha. And then I don't know, but as a Sangha, for me, as a practitioner and be a teacher of community, we have to go to places that scare us if we need to grow. You know, if we need to grow, we have to move, to push, to be into those places, to push those boundaries. And this is not really just political thing, like I say. And because it's so easy to hide, it's very easy to hide in this practice. And then just to keep this silence and sitting at home and read books and to really turn away from what we are facing, sometimes everyday life outside of the cushion. And then we create this bubble, this comfort, and then we don't look at it, or we don't know. And this writer, Anne Gray, he has some questions, and her topic about to have some questions that maybe we can work on it as a community, as a Buddhist community. And she said, in what ways have Buddhists confronted racism and white privilege in our communities? How do we interpret racism and whiteness from a Buddhist perspective? How does, as a white Sangha, respond? What is needed for liberation from the dukkha suffering of racism? So, like, our practice is moving from individualism practice to collective. How do we do that? And it's so fascinating to watch our minds when we go into a retreat and then when we get out from the retreat, and how we integrate that experience in our everyday life. And that's the real practice. When we go into retreat, everything is really set up to really support our practice. We are in silence, somebody's cooking for us, we are in a schedule, and we don't have to worry so much. And just we get to this rhythm and routine. But when we get out from that container, that's when really we see our patterns, our conditioning on our minds. So how do we practice that? How we bring this practice into the collective as a group? And if you are maybe aware, the many sanghas that start opening spaces for people of color, and then some sanghas, they have some pushback. Other sanghas, they were really supported to do that. And then because we can get into the trap of oneness, or into the trap of the absolute, and to the trap why we need to separate those people of color. If Buddhism is about everybody, if all we are have Buddha nature, yes, but that's what this the text is saying, with Shito saying grasping in things is only delusion, according with sameness is still no enlightenment. So here, to have those spaces are very important. And I have benefit in my own practice. I have benefit to have those spaces in different sanghas. I might share something. Wow, the time is running.
So would you like a microphone?
No, it's okay. Can I have the clock here? Can I have the clock? Yeah, and otherwise I'm gonna talk for 2 hours. I have enough coffee, so. So anyway, yeah, it's so important. And then sharing my personal experience, I was not aware about racism. Obviously, I was in Mexico, and everybody looks the same like me. So Mexico is quite classic society, very macho. Um, and the boy was not aware, and then later came to United States, first in Canada, but more here in United States. I spent my training in Upaya Zen Center with John Halifax, Roshi. So I was in this bubble, in this beautiful bubble of Zen Center. And everybody, I thought, everybody, everybody were nice, but to be in this bubble, and I assumed everybody has the same values and then Buddhist values, and be kind and compassionate and nice people and tolerance, patient. And I was in this bubble, and then I didn't realize about so many things. And then my realization is when I get out from the bubble. When I get out from this bubble of Zen Center, I start seeing wow, interesting. Especially to go through immigration. Every time that I went to Mexico and to coming back, how I was elected, and sometimes they put me aside and questioning things, and just for the color of my skin and for my nationality, and also my last name. But there was another people that were so nice when they asked me there was an experience in Dallas. I think it was Dallas. And they say, where are you coming from, or what do you do? I say, I am Buddhist priest. Oh, okay, Zen Buddhist priest. Where are you going? And to Upaya Zen Center. Oh, I heard about that center. And that person started talking to me about Dogen. And that was very nice. And he said, I am reading this guy, Dogen. He said, Dogen. I said, Dogen. Yeah, it's very interesting guy from Japan. I said, Dogen. Oh, okay, yeah. And then, it was very easy to come in, We had this chatting about Dogen. And but in another organization that I work for the teenager retreats, inward bound mindfulness education, we start doing workshops about diversity and equality, and to look our heritage or background. So those workshops, they were for the staff, they were so good to me, because we went and then we separate. So white people on one side and then people of color on other sides, and we start doing work, personal work, and then later to come together. And that really helped me to see, that I was different, and then I was different of others, and see my heritage, my background, but not see my background as a shameful piece of myself. It was more as a honoring where I am from and honoring my roots. And that was so empowering. And then to come together, it was so interesting to integrate, because we have to do that. Well, one thing that I like to say is that to create those spaces for people of color, or it could be LGBTQ, or it could be just gender. There's so really good places for people to heal, to feel safe. So when you divide, just by gender, women, they need to share their whole pain about our system of patriarchy or hierarchy. And then people being in the LGBTQ, to share being this minority. And then people of color, of course, because we relate so different into our society. And then white people, they need to look at it too. the benefits of the system, to look at it, the privilege the way they are, and not to be ashamed about it. And here, to make more clear, to understand why they're so important, because for me, I didn't see the patriarchy. I thought that I didn't see my toxic masculinity in the way how I grew up in Mexico and raised as a boy. And I thought I was no macho. I thought that, you know, treat a woman and be in a coffee and pay the bill, that was the right thing to do. Or to bring some flowers, you know. And then, but here, I got it when I saw everything that we build as a society, just talking more as a building, like things that we construct things, or architecture, everything is placed for right people, right-hand people, not for left-handed. So everything that we adjust, okay, if we are going to put a door, so we think about people with the right hand. So the left-handed people is left out. And then I remember, maybe you remember when we went to school, and then there were some chairs, with the some kind of palette here or a board, and there was for right people. And the left people, they had to go all the way like this, crooked. So in that level, our system of society has built that way for men and from white people. And so that's when we create these small pods, is to really talk and to be vulnerable. And sometimes people of color that are gonna say, they cannot say things when white people are in front of us, or vice versa. So that's what is so important to create. And there is so much. I can go on and give you examples. And just in our language, in our language, there's so much about the white values of thinking, and they call colonialism. So, and another thing that, just to end, another piece that is so important here is because we are getting this boom, and look at it to minorities, and look at it to people of color, and then, okay, now let's invite people of color to speak, and which is good. And then, let's do the scholarship for programs for people of color or minorities, and some centers. That's great. That is so good. And then, and there are programs to become a teacher, more into the and different traditions, like insight meditation practices or lineage, where they prioritize people of color to be into those programs and get scholarships. And now more people of color are becoming a teachers, and which is good. But one thing that is missing, because it's not enough. It's not enough just to have more the people of color teachers, because there is another piece that is missing, and the missing is the we are not breaking down the system, the racism system that's still in place in our society. And here, when the thing, if you notice, we are creating a lot of workshops for people of color, but there are not so many in the marketplace, on the marketing, about workshops for white people. So it's still the system that, it's the system. It's not the people. It's just the conditioning for so many years, centuries, of think that way, and think that everybody is a right hand, that way, so to speak. We're assuming a lot. And the same way, when people of color, we assuming a lot. You know, when you grow up in a country in the financially poor, you assume that everybody has a difficulty with money. You know, if you, that's my own experience, you know, I create a program and say, oh, it's too expensive, because thinking that it was very struggle for going to a program in Mexico. But no, there are, you know, wealthy people. And this conditioning, and you know, the conditioning of mind of poverty is a beautiful precept there, to look at it. And here, what we have found in the Dharma organization is to really look at it, our system that we create. It's really still perpetuating, still supporting this wide system that we have in place. And that many big organizations, many organizations that look at it like the teachers, they do the work and they realize that the board of the community is just, they haven't done the job. They're still perpetuating the system, so that's why is not growing. And one thing that is so interesting to look at it, and then I've been part of these conversations with one organization that is very progressive, and then we create this community of color, a pot or a circle, and then we were getting this momentum and of energy and bringing people together. And there was a time, a moment that suddenly goes stuck. And the stock, the stock, it was because it was about power, about sharing the power. Because we were getting more like an equal into the big umbrella of the organization. And then it was very interesting to watch the dynamics and the biases of the system. And then just because we were people of color, they didn't trust to give us ourselves power, to give us autonomy. And that is what is so important to look at it. You know, and then for me it has been a learning experience with gender. With gender, how you empower a woman and being a man. For me, it's just get out of the way. Get out of the way. Let woman be a woman. Because for so many years, as a man, we have built what a woman should behave. And it's just a serving to the man. And we don't know, well, I really don't know what to be a woman because I know a woman, period. So this is something very, very important to look at it. And the same with people of color. You know, I know what to be a Mexican, I know how to be an immigrant, I know, it's part of my journey. But I cannot tell to people, or white people, to say how they should behave. That's something to look at it. And that's what gets very uncomfortable for many of us. Because and that right there is when the robbers meet the road. And then we had to go in, each of us, we had to do our work. We have to do our personal work. And Buddhism has a beautiful, beautiful program, beautiful path to look at it deeply. And to look at it, all this conditioning, all these relationships that we have with our minds, and also how we interact with the world, where we get hooked, all these beliefs, all these values that we have, that maybe those values are not anymore working. or that kind of way to see the world in just one kind of lens. We need to shift it. So that's what they are finding out. There is not just only empower the teachers, it's also to let a new blow, new way, take a risk about organization to move in different other places, and to be innovative. And then we have a huge support with the Buddhist the Buddhist teachings, the taking refuge in the Sangha. That's the trade jewel, because this is collective. The Buddhism is collective and is for people. It's for communities. We are here thanks to the Sangha. Buddha didn't by himself. After he woke up and then be really this compassionate being, he transmitted the teachings. He showed the way. And the first people who heard those teachings, they were the 5 ascetics. The first sermon, the first Dharma talk of the Buddha. And that becomes the Sangha. It's this relational piece that we need to look at it. Yeah, that's what I have to say for today. So this, in one piece, we do our work personal, we do our sasen, and it's a very lonely path, but we walk with others together, where we manifest our awakening, where we manifest our insights is through our relationships. It's how we relate to ourselves and how we relate to others. And that is what, in the last piece of this dedication, we say, together, with all beings together, we realize the enlightened way together. So everybody inclusive. That is beyond our duality mind, beyond all these colors. But we had to do this together. Thank you.